30 will be joining me as we get set to talk about a multitude of things. Of course, the Dallas Cowboys, what they need to do, Zach Martin, how that messes up the entirety of the Dallas Cowboys cap and what the ramifications of his ask for new money could be. But not only that, NIL. Fantastic conversation today with new to UTSA, since UTSA is new to the AAC. American Athletic Conference Commissioner Mike Oresco joined Jason and Joe on the Blitz earlier today. An interview you can actually hear on the AA Best Bail Bonds audio vault at sasportstar.com. Of course, you can catch all of our shows there. But earlier today, Mike Oresco was talking about NIL and kind of what the meaning versus application is of the NIL. And he is definitely a bit breathy in his explanation, but I think his explanation was extremely valid when talking about the NIL and whether or not what is happening in college football is NIL or pay to play.
And as far as NIL goes, I mean, I think you can't roll back the ocean, and you can't, you have to, they talk about a uniform, law for NIL. I don't think there necessarily is one, but what I think you can do is, okay, it's pay to play now. We sort of know that. We sort of knew that would happen if you, especially with big time sports like football and basketball. If you, we didn't know collectives would form as quickly as they did, or that they'd take the form they did, but we knew that would happen. Okay, well, it's happened, and it's hard to control it because you could say anything's a sponsorship, right? You could put a picture in a window and say, okay, that's a sponsorship, and it's worth 500,000 to me or $1 million to me. Who's to say, right? The point is, if it's just pay to play, pure pay to play, there's no quid pro quo. The student athlete doesn't have to do anything for the money just being paid. There's the abuse that the NCAA has to be able to go after. My biggest concern, fellas, is not so much NIL issues as the larger issue of states now saying, "Oh, we don't have to abide by any NCAA rules. We're fine with just ignoring them." As far as we're concerned, if I do this or that, they're fine. They can do it. That is not healthy, because if you have a patchwork of state laws that are basically favoring individual schools within that state, you don't have a national enterprise anymore. We're a national enterprise. You have to have certain rules that apply to everybody. That's just common sense. This is not, this is not a revelation, but that's what's happening right now. You saw, I think, there's obviously laws in Texas, Tennessee, other places, and we've got to figure out a way either to get Congress to help us there in a narrow way. I don't think Congress is going to do much else for us, but the courts may have to get involved and say, look, the NCAA does have a right to enforce national rules when it comes to college sports, because that's the bigger issue. And that applies to NIL. If you've got somebody who's clearly cheating, it's not really NIL at all, it's just pay to play, then the NCAA should be able to sanction them. And by the way, that leads to the other issue is pay to play coming? I mean, are we going to be paying players? Are we going to have employee status, which I don't think student athletes want? I don't think it's a good thing. But maybe down the road, if in fact we're forced into that situation, we have to figure out a way to maybe have some kind of national collective bargaining to have just some standards, and not unionization, not employee status, but just an ability to avoid antitrust lawsuits every 2 minutes. We don't want to get bankrupted by lawsuits that I think are often frivolous. We've got to figure that out too. I think we will eventually. I applaud Charlie Baker, the new president, because I think he's really trying to solve these issues. I am skeptical that Congress is going to help us much, or that we even want Congress to help us that much, because I'm not sure what would come out of the legislation, and you just can't put NIL in a straitjacket, and you can't, you can't overregulate it. I don't think you need to. It just has to be, there has to be some semblance of name, image, and likeness. That's not what it is now. The joke now is that the acronym stands for "Now It's Legal." And that's sort of depicting the situation as it stands.
So, is it NIL in college football right now, or is it pay to play? Because it sounds like they are walking a very thin line between what they want and the guidelines that they want on NIL and the transfer portal make sense. It does make sense. It does need the guardrails of having the portal window limited to smaller sections. It does make sense to penalize teams that try to recruit players currently on rosters. These are things that I think need to be addressed in some way, shape, or form. But do they need to be addressed by Congress or a governing body? Is it that supposed to be what the NCAA was originally for until they basically broke off into their own super conferences? And if you're breaking off into your own super conferences, isn't the conference commissioner supposed to be in charge of something like that? Why do we have to involve Congress in this situation when it comes to a mess that they have created on their own, in a sense? I am James Pledger. You are listening to Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio's Sports Star, 94.1 FM, sasportstar.com. Of course, you can listen there or online at sasportstar.com. You can also watch on our YouTube feed at SA Sports Star, coming along on Twitter, Instagram, Threads, TikTok, SA Sports Star at I Am Pledger. We are both there. But coming up next, Jason Minix will be joining me as we talk a little bit about this and get you ready for tomorrow's R&R or J&J or whatever the heck that we're going to call tomorrow's morning show, as Jason and I get you ready in the morning for a full sporting day. That's all coming up here on Extra Innings with Pledger right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM and sasportstar.com.
If you're a man and you live in San Antonio or the surrounding areas, you need to pay close attention to what I'm about to say. Are you having issues rising to the occasion? Do you constantly worry about whether or not you can perform? Have you completely stopped having adult time? Is it something you just don't talk about? Guys, we have a solution. Mojo, the 100% guaranteed male enhancer pill that's fast, effective, and was designed to reignite passion in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Be ready at a moment's notice with the Mojo Male Enhancement Pill from Pure Line Nutrition. And for those of you who have used Mojo, check out Mojo Enduramax.
Touchdown!
A new formula that improves the potency and effectiveness of Mojo. Get fast results, last longer, and be the man she'll never forget. Mojo and Mojo Enduramax, 100% natural male enhancement formulas, only available at Pure Line Nutrition. Call now, 210-494-2210. That's 210-494-2210. Or visit us online at thepureline.com.
Car wrecks can wreck your life. They can leave you with medical bills, lost wages. Most importantly, they can leave you with lasting pain. That's why you should call Hilly & Solis. Hey, guys, it's Rudy J, and I'm here to tell you about Hilly & Solis. They're former prosecutors that know how to fight and know how to win. They're going to listen to your story and guide you through the legal process. They want to get you all the compensation you deserve. Insurance companies have their own interests in mind, so you have to keep that in mind. And their goal is to settle that claim as fast as possible for as little money as possible, but you deserve more, and Hilly & Solis understands that. Compensation for your injuries, your medical bills, lost wages, and pain and suffering. It's so important, though, that you act quickly after the car wreck. Evidence disappears, memories fade, and statutes of limitations may apply. So call them right now for your free, no obligation consultation right now. 210-762-6261. That's 210-762-6261. 210-762-6261.
Principal office in San Antonio, Texas. Message brought to you by a non-attorney spokesperson.
This is it. The final days, the final hours of Diamonds Direct's Midsummer Store-Wide Savings Event. Time is running out on this incredible buying opportunity. You have until Saturday at 6 p.m. to shop in-store and get 20% savings on virtually everything. Exclusive trunk shows all weekend with world-renowned designers in-store. Save an extra 20% off rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, even engagement ring mountings. Don't miss this once-a-year store-wide event. Hurry, sail in Saturday. Get all the details now at diamondsdirect.com.
When you're drinking a frozen beverage from McDonald's, your brain may not like how refreshingly cold it is, but the rest of your body, oh yes, it's gonna relish every moment of it, because there are drinks. Then there are drinks from McDonald's.
There's no better way to cool down than with this cool deal. Get a medium frozen Coke, frozen Dr. Pepper, or frozen Fanta for just $1.79. Prices at participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Get ready, MMA fight fans. Coming live Friday, August 4th to the Boeing Center at Techport. It's the Professional Fighters League. The PFL playoffs are here. Bubba Badman Jenkins battles the hard-hitting Jesus Pinedo in the main event. The loser goes home. The winner moves on to fight for $1 million. Tickets at PFLMMA.com. Be there August 4th. The Boeing Center at Techport. The PFL playoffs are here.
94.1 San Antonio Sports Star welcomes the future.
And so when someone says bulk up.
Why? What for? You should tell all this to skinny up.
You got to keep your head up. James Pledger, Extra Innings with Pledger, right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM, SASportsStar.com. Thanks for joining me on your drive home. And speaking of people driving home right now, Jason Minix, host of The Blitz, 2 to 6 weekdays, right here on San Antonio Sports Star, joins me right now. And Jason, I was really taken by Mike Oresco's interview earlier today that you and Joe had, the commissioner of the American Athletic Conference, the AAC, in which UTSA is now a proud member of, and some of the things he had to say about the conference, about UTSA, and especially about the NIL and pay to play.
You know, I thought it was a very open and honest conversation with Mike Oresco. And I've never talked to him before, never met him before. I've heard interviews that he has done, and he's obviously, and it's a good thing, very defensive about the American being in the group of five and not the Power Five, and getting those divisions out. And I think you start there because his NIL basis is we're smaller, perception-wise, we're smaller. So schools that are perceived to be bigger, those in the Power Five, that have bigger booster clubs, more money, are coming after the guys that we have developed. And we've seen that with teams that they have developed, like a Cincinnati, a Houston, that are now part of Power Five conferences. So I think his perception is unique in that area.
And I find it wholly interesting that he was talking about, especially the successes that the conference itself has had and the expectations that he has for a UTSA coming into this conference.
Well, it starts with football, and let's face it. I mean, UTSA's football under Jeff Traylor with Frank Harris at quarterback, with back-to-back Conference USA championships, and some of the games that they have played, the bigger teams that they have played well, you know, going on the road a couple of years ago and beating Illinois, Houston down to the wire with, you know, a quarterback like Clayton Tune, you know, the way they played UT in the first half of that game, that is a legit good football team that has a lot of players back. So expectations are there, but also, you know, being honest, I mean, they're going into the American while the American is losing some of their better football teams, like a Cincinnati and like the University of Houston. So basically you've got UTSA replacing, say, Houston or Cincy with the quality of football that you're going to see on the field. So that's a win for the conference, and obviously a feather in the hat for Jeff Traylor and the UTSA Roadrunners.
Now, what do you make of his comments when he starts talking about the NIL pay for play, how it's going to be governed in the future, and bringing Congress into the fold?
When you've got a guy like a commissioner, he knows more than you. He knows more than me. He knows more than everybody that's driving right now on 281 for whatever reason. We're in a traffic jam. So you look at this, and he's in those meetings, yet his answers are as generic with the what are we going to do, whether it's this is a possibility, this is a possibility. There's nothing concrete, nothing that it seems like the majority of the powers that be can agree on how to get any kind of guardrails, on how they might be able to get some sort of legislation, because I don't think anybody wants Congress involved, but it seems like that's the only way they could do it, because states are going to do things that benefit the schools in their states, and state governments will try to help out their state universities. And so all the rules are different, and it can't be that way. It can't function that way. And like he said, the example is, NIL is supposed to be name, image, and likeness, not pay for play. But if, a commercial on a radio station is X and on another station it's Y, who's to say the value is wrong? If somebody's willing to pay a player a ridiculous amount of money, I think he used the term $500,000 for a picture and call it advertising.
Yep.
Then if somebody's willing to pay it, then how do you argue that? How do you put a rule on that? So call it what it is. It's pay for play. They've got to go earn it. And that's one thing that, a lot of these collectives require players to do something to earn that money, but it's not like they have to do a lot to get that money.
Jason Minix, host of the Blitz, weekdays 2 to 6, right here on San Antonio Sports Star. And another big item that broke today was the fact that, as you like to call him, Lil Danny Snyder is finally no longer the owner of the Washington Commanders. And I imagine there are two different feelings you have. That is a player and getting him out of the league, or that is a person and having him removed from the league and everything that he has done to bring tarnish and shame. But then there is you, the Cowboy fan, and I imagine those are two different feelings you have in terms of his success with the Cowboys or lack thereof, and what it's meant in terms of the Cowboys' success.
I mean, I'm not a fan of Dan Snyder, and quite honestly, like, I've got a good friend who's a Washington fan, John Robbins, and I imagine he's thrilled today. The Cowboy fan in me, and I haven't really given it this much thought until you just brought it up. It's not, oh crap, they might be good again. Although, a well-run organization, maybe they will be good again. I mean, I'm a fan of the New Jersey Devils, and the owner Sanders is the owner of the New Jersey Devils. So I've seen how he runs organizations before, and the New Jersey Devils were a bad hockey team for a number of years, but kind of like with the Sixers that he also owns, it was trust the process. Let us draft, let us develop. And that's what he's done with basketball, and we know the results with the 76ers. I've seen what he's done with the New Jersey Devils, and he lets his people go in and run the organization the way it should be run. And the Devils are back to being a playoff team that got some good young talent. So I see those examples, and if you apply it to what Washington could be, yeah, they might be good again. And as a Cowboy fan, all right, that sucks. But in reality, when Washington is good, when the Cowboys are good, there's franchises in the NFL, when they are good, it's better for the overall league. And quite frankly, and I know I'm a Cowboy homer, but when the NFC East is good, that's great for the NFL.
Yeah, in the NFC East especially, it is a lot like seeing this past season the AFC West, or this coming season the AFC East, those older rivalries, the Chiefs and Raiders, and you kind of saw a look behind that rivalry during quarterbacks with Patrick Mahomes when Raiders week just felt different to him. He said that exact words out of his mouth. And it's different with the Broncos as well. And then you look forward this season to the AFC East, and you're going to have all of those teams, and it's going to kind of almost feel like the mid-90s again in that division.
It depends on how quickly this ownership group is able to turn some things around. I mean, there was a lot of damage done to that organization. But, from a Cowboy fan perspective, I would like to think this makes Jerry Jones compete a little bit harder. Not that he doesn't compete as hard as he can now, but there is another team that you've got to really pay attention to in the NFC East. And I think everybody's going to be watching to see what they do on the football operations side. We're still years away from them being back to that level, I think, because, you don't turn battleships overnight, and you got to draft, you got to develop, whatever contract mess that the new ownership group is taking on is certainly going to be there. But I think it's a great day for the NFL that Dan Snyder is out, and, for them to give him a $60 million fine as a parting gift, 1% of your sale. I know it's chump change for a guy like Daniel Snyder, but I don't care how rich you are, $60 million has got to sting.
Yeah, and it's kind of a little parting gift from the league, if you will.
Well, I mean, instead of saying he sold it for $6 billion, really it's $5.99 billion, and that's not near as sexy sounding.
Lastly, before we get you out of here, Jason, y'all are heading to Oxnard here in a week from Sunday, right?
Correct, yeah.
And so there are two big things that surround that. There is now the Zach Martin situation and what's happening there, but the day after that is the Major League Baseball trade deadline. And the Astros are, at least the rumors are starting to pick up that there could be a trade for a massive piece in Dylan Cease by taking on bloated contracts like Tim Anderson and a few others, but you'd be giving up the one top 100 prospect you have left in your system and a Jeremy Pena. And I know that you're going to miss John McClain tomorrow, so you won't get to really talk with him about it, but would that be worth it to you in the Astros sense? And in terms of the Cowboys sense, do you expect Zach Martin to kind of get worked out while y'all are in Oxnard? Because we always happen to see one there.
Well, I mean, Jerry Jones, let's stay with Zach Martin for a moment. Jerry Jones seems to get a lot of deals done while in Oxnard. We've been there for a number of those signings, and I can't imagine that he's going to let Zach Martin be unhappy for very long. So I wouldn't be surprised if that one got done while they were in Oxnard. And keep in mind, Zach is under contract, so he does get a $50,000 of camp. So I do expect him to show up, maybe not practice. Although, depending on how serious he is, but the new term hold in, I could see Zach doing that, kind of like OTAs in mini camps. He was there, he just didn't work out.
Soft tissue.
I don't see Zach missing that opener against the New York Giants by any stretch. As far as the Astros working a trade, I'd hate to lose a Jeremy Pena. But when you look at the American League right now, one, you've got to keep up with the Texas Rangers, who have been red hot since the All-Star break. And so if they really do think that they've got a World Series run in them this year, then yeah, it would suck to lose Pena. It would suck to lose a prospect. But when you look at the landscape in the American League, the Astros have a great opportunity this year. You wonder if the Rangers are going to be able to hold up through August and September with their staff. And I know they're looking at making some moves too. But if you're the Astros and you've got a chance, you've got to go all in. It's a high price to pay, but again, what you're getting in return, that might get you over the top. So you got to do it.
Jason Minix, every weekday 2 to 6 right here on San Antonio Sports Star, The Blitz with Jason and Joe. And tomorrow morning on R&R in the Morning with Jason and myself.
Yeah.
You happy to be working on your day off?
The fact that I'll be back on the radio doing a show in 11 and a half hours is exciting.
I can tell.
No, it'll be fun. Because I'm doing it from the kitchen table, and as long as I'm at the kitchen table, I'm good.
Well,
you know what I mean?
I do, because there's air conditioning at the kitchen table, which I don't think they have at Phoenix outside.
Yeah, but I'm not going to be outside tomorrow doing a show.
Oh,
I'll be at
not going to be at the
tomorrow
pool?
night. I'll be at the pool. I'll be at a pool in 24 hours. At the W in Scottsdale. I'll be in that pool, but it's a cooled pool. It's a chilled pool. It's a nice pool. So I'll be fine tomorrow night.
So
Tomorrow
they've got fancy pools.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jason,
so yeah, tomorrow morning's gonna suck. Tomorrow night will not.
Cold Miller Lite in hand, making sure to keep it as cold as he can while in Phoenix for Disturbed. Am I correct?
Yeah, Disturbed on Saturday night.
Well, while Jason's getting down with the sickness, we will continue things here on Extra Innings with Pleasure. Jason, thanks for your time today.
Appreciate it, man. See you in the morning.
Yes, sir. Jason Minix joining us here on Extra Innings with Pleasure on San Antonio Sports Star. Now, the man that he will be sitting in for, I don't know if he's sitting in for Rob or Rudy, or I'm sitting in for Rob or Rudy, but the other man who is on vacation that is so nicely taking the time to join me is Rudy J of R&R in the Morning, as he will be joining me here in just a couple of minutes when we return, as I get set to ask him about one of the biggest hot button issues that we crossed this morning on R&R in the Morning. That's all coming up right here on San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM and SASportsStar.com.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. The IRS just rolled out a new program to help struggling taxpayers more easily resolve their tax problems. It's called the Taxpayer Relief Initiative, and it opens up powerful new options for people looking to get back on the right track with the IRS. And no one knows this program like the professionals at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution company. They've resolved over $1 billion in tax debt for their clients and have the expertise and experience to help you. One easy call to Optima can start the process, helping to put an end to your worries of wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other aggressive IRS actions. Make today the beginning of your fresh start with the IRS. Call the experts at Optima Tax Relief now for your free confidential consultation.
Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It can happen in an instant. A car accident can change your life forever, from serious injuries to mounting medical bills to battling insurance companies. Accidents make life harder than it should be. If you've been in an accident, George Salinas Injury Lawyers are here for you. They're local, experienced, and ready to fight for results that make a difference. If you've been injured, don't call just any lawyer. Call George Salinas in 0909 or visit georgesalinas.com.
George gets justice. Energy companies raising your rates and then telling you to reduce your usage? Don't reduce, produce. At Roof Fix Solar Energy, take charge of your energy costs and keep your home as cool as you want. Sign today and we'll pay your utility bill until your solar's installed. Plus, capture a 30% tax credit and a $600 rebate. That's no money out of pocket and never pay a high utility bill again. Call 210-454-2400 or visit rooffixsa.com.
Roof Fix, home of the low price guarantee.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
This story is called The Ugly Truth About Timeshare. If you think you've done your family a favor by buying a timeshare, you need my help. Hello, I'm Chuck McDowell, CEO and founder of Wesley Financial Group. 10 years ago, I started helping folks cancel their timeshare. And in the process, started what's now called the timeshare cancellation industry. Timeshare is the only thing that you can buy that you can't tell me how much it's going to cost or when it's going to end. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check to fill out any amount they want for annual maintenance and assessment fees. The crazy thing is, this never ends. Even when you die, your family's now going to be stuck with this burden. Stop the insanity today. Call my office now. If we take you as a client, I guarantee we'll cancel your timeshare or you'll pay nothing.
Call for your free information kit. 800-497-9090. That's 800-497-9090. 800-497-9090.
Take as little as 3 minutes to see if you could save on motorcycle insurance with Progressive. Come on, you've spent more time than that trying to name your bike.
How about the Crusher? I guess it's not really crushing anything. The Silver Bolt? No. Oh, what about Pepper? Mysterious. Is it a pet or a condiment? Surprise! It's a motorcycle. No, that's stupid.
Get a quote in as little as 3 minutes at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
So you just used bug spray in your home. Now what? Well, between the waiting for things to dry up and keeping your family away from the mess, it hits you. You could have used Zevo. Unlike other bug sprays that stick around, Zevo goes from kill to clean in seconds. Plus, it's safe for use around people and pets when used as directed. Zevo, people-friendly, bug-deadly.
I've always gotten a ton of UTIs. I tried everything. Cranberry products never worked. I felt like I had no choices and constant anxiety. I needed a better option. I'm Jenna Ryan, founder of Eucora.
Eucora's science-backed supplements give you the support you need to stay healthy. And if you get a UTI, Eucora's UTI emergency kit helps you test for a UTI and manage your symptoms until you can see a doctor. All of Eucora's supplements were built in collaboration with doctors and scientists, leveraging the latest in urinary health research using ingredients found in nature.
Eucora can help put the power back in your hands. Get your life back with Eucora.
Try Eucora today. Get 30% off your first Eucora order when you go to eucora.com/radio. That's eucora.com/radio to get 30% off. eucora.com/radio.
These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
All guests appearing on 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star appear on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Buyers Barricades provides traffic control, rental, and sales for San Antonio and beyond. Online at buyersbarricades.com.
Welcome back into San Antonio Sports Star 94.1 FM. This is Extra Innings with Pledger. I am James Pledger, right here on your home for the Dallas Cowboys. As I get ready to bring in my guy, Rudy J., who I've had the pleasure of working with these past 2 mornings. You can catch him every morning on R&R in the morning, weekdays 6 to 10. Rudy, got some Drew Hill for you to go.
Yeah, I like that. I like the R&B touch. I like the little R&B flair. You know, I'm an R&B head, so I'm good to go. How are you doing, sir?
Little Cisco and Drew Hill for you. Man, I'm always good. You know, tanks.
You hit the wall
my tank's
yet?
running. You know, I'm redlining, but I'll be there.
Yeah, I heard Minnick say he's gonna do the R&R with you tomorrow morning.
From his kitchen table.
I would advise you this. I would put the whole run down to him. He ain't gonna do nothing. He's already in Phoenix. He got one foot on the plane, drink tickets in hand. He's in Phoenix, man. Just put the rundown together for him and throw fastballs at him for 4 hours.
Oh, absolutely. He was already thinking about what he was going to be doing in the pool that night.
Well, we know what he's going to be doing. He's going to be drinking Miller Lite and smiling. That's what Jason does. He smiles and he drinks Miller Lite. That's what he
does. Rudy, we had a good time this week, and especially this morning, we got into it a little bit on a couple of different topics. One of them, because of Zach Martin's holdout or hold in or whatever he's doing and what it means for the Dallas Cowboys moving forward, and the fact that their cap situation, they plan things out pretty methodically, and Zach coming back to the table a couple of years early seemingly is going to throw a pretty big wrench in that when they've got a lot of mouths to feed coming up. And two of those mouths that they're going to have to feed are CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs. And when you look at the state of the market, and you can only go by what the market dictates, because that they are top tier at their position. And the top tiers at those positions get between 18 to 22 million and 25 to 30 million. So it comes down to a numbers game when you're talking about these players, CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs, and are they going to be worth the amount of the pie that they're going to be taking up on this team, especially when you look a little further down the road and see Micah Parsons' huge $30+ million contract staring you dead in the eyes.
Well, when I look at the top 10 paid cornerbacks and the top 10 paid wide receivers in the league, about 30% on each side are on really good teams, good teams. So that means the other 7 guys are just guys that you paid just because you have to use the 2 dreaded words that I hate more than anything in sports right now because of the have to. Well, we have to. Well, we have to. Well, no, you don't. You don't have to pay CeeDee Lamb. You don't have to pay Trayvon Diggs. Those are just one of those. They're Jerry guys. They're Cowboys. They got the swag. They sell jerseys. But really, when you think about it, Trayvon Diggs, giving him $20 million and then turn around and giving CeeDee $25 million to keep those guys, I don't think puts you any closer to a Super Bowl than you are now. They're won Super Bowls are won in the trenches, and I'm going to stand by that. You know, we talk about running backs. For the life of me, I can't understand why the running back position is the only skill position that is the only skill position that's being held to this standard of, well, you can find them anywhere. Well, I'm not saying you can't find just anybody anywhere. And these are guys, they're 1%ers. But it seems nobody bats an eye when it's time to pay Jair Alexander over $20 million on a Green Bay team that might end up third in the NFC North this year. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Denzel Ward.
I think you can pay them, but paying them like top dollar to eat up $45 million of your cap from those 2 guys seems a bit much to me. I'm taking the Belichick approach, although I don't have Tom Brady. Belichick let a lot of really, really good players walk because he just didn't want to pay that much. And he just chose to go in free agency a little cheaper or develop in the draft. And I like that way of thinking, especially when I'm talking about 2 guys that have been on my team. Those 2 guys, they've been on my team, and yet I can't even get to the NFC Championship game with them. So why do I have to pay them market value?
It's a little bit easier to pay a premium at those positions when your quarterback's on a rookie deal.
Right. That's true. That's fair. That's fair. But their quarterback ain't on a rookie deal. Matter of fact, their quarterback has a $60 million cap hit next season. That will never see the light of day. They're going to get that taken care of. The Cowboys
absolutely
have been doing, they've been doing smart business for quite some time. So that contract, the way it's currently constructed, will never see the light of day. But still, there's other plays. Like, to me, Zach Martin, Micah Parsons, and Terrence Steele and Tyler Biotish are far, far more important than Trayvon Diggs and CeeDee Lamb.
Because, as you said, the game is played and won in the trenches.
Yeah, it is one in the trenches. I looked at 4 guys with 10+ sacks, fantastic offensive line. I looked at the Chiefs, who are in the Super Bowl as well. They revamped their offensive line, went with some no-name receivers. Of course, we're talking about Patrick Mahomes, but still, they read Chris Jones on the defensive line. You know, they
Carlos
did some
Dunlap.
things both sides. Yeah, they did things in the trenches, and you know, if Dak Prescott is who a lot of Cowboy fans think he is, Jason Minix feels like he's the top 10. If Dak Prescott really is a top 10 quarterback as advertised, you don't have to pay CeeDee Lamb $25 million a year. You just don't.
But you do have to pay Zach Martin 20.
You got to pay Zach Martin. You got to pay Tyler. Like, Tyler Biotish really is the godsend that we're not talking about, because when Travis Frederick came down with his illness and he had to retire early, everybody kind of like, oh, damn. And then next thing you know, we just went quiet. You know why we went quiet? Because Tyler Biotish wasn't half bad. And he's not Travis Frederick. He's not. But he also isn't awful, and they haven't had to address that position. He's really been a godsend. Terrence Steele been a godsend. You didn't know the way he first looked when he first played that rookie year, and the way he got thrown around and beat up to make the leap that he made was insane. Then you take Micah Parsons, the guy that they brought in as a linebacker. DeMarcus Lawrence gets hurt. They say, "Hey man, you want to try defensive end?" He flourishes. So when I look at those positions, they're defensive end. Those guys are super. They can be super disruptive. Of course, your center. Of course, your guard. So to me, I'm not losing any sleep. If I'm a diehard Cowboy fan, I'm not losing any sleep over CeeDee Lamb and Trayvon Diggs. Whatever happens, happens.
And it's also when you talk about Micah Parsons, you talk about DeMarcus Lawrence, who will be a free agent at the end of either this year or next year. I can't remember which it was after his restructure, but will be a free agent soon. And there's another $20 million you're looking at right in the face. What's the number one thing you always say about a secondary? A pass rush can make a mediocre secondary look elite, right?
Absolutely. If you show me a bad pass rush, I'll show you a bad secondary. You show me a great pass rush, I'll show you a great secondary. It's really just that simple. I mean, we like to make it out to be more than it is, but it's not. So yeah, that's always been my theory. Always.
He is Rudy J from R&R in the Morning, weekdays 6 to 10, as he's getting ready for a little vacation time. So Jason and myself will be sitting in for him tomorrow. And that is some solid advice, by the way, putting that rundown together tonight.
Yeah, do that, man, because I'm telling you, man, that guy is all the way in Phoenix mentally. He's already got his drink tickets at the front door. Just be prepared, man.
Rudy, we also had a little bit of a disagreement about Dalvin Cook, and a
little bit, about an hour.
But I only say this because I'm looking at it purely on this year and this year alone. That cap is already what it is. Once you pay Zach Martin, this year's cap is what it is. So why not use what's left to give yourself the absolute best opportunity when you're talking about the possibility of burdening Tony Pollard with a workload like he's never seen in college, high school, or the pros. And in case of overworking, you've got a really, really good fallback plan. He's not the person that he was, but he's still a really good option that I do believe can help protect this team and take advantage of what is ultimately a razor-thin window when you're talking about winning a Super Bowl in the NFL.
Look, this is my thing. Look, you make a great argument about the fact that this isn't going to affect you going for the future. You know, I've been watching Suits a lot lately. That is a strong argument on your part. Strong argument. But this is what I would say. And I said this morning. It can be Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley in Dallas's backfield. You're still not going to be able to run the ball on Dallas's boogeyman, which is the San Francisco 49ers. Philadelphia went and drafted the entire Georgia defense. You're still not going to run the ball on them. So while I get what you're saying with Dalvin Cook, that's not going to be the difference in them getting over the title game.
No, health is, as always, but we just did get done bragging on that offensive line and that defensive line.
True. And Malik Davis is there. Why you keep discounting my boy?
Well, I'm only discounting him because I have yet to been proven that the Cowboys believe in him.
Fair. And I can't wait to ask if we get the chance to talk to Mike McCarthy at training.
You know you will. R&R in the Morning is the home of Mike McCarthy.
I get that, but that's what you never know, man. These things are always fluid. You know, it's the Dallas
calls
Cowboys.
you RJ.
Yeah, he calls me RJ. That's my guy, and I can't wait to.
On top of that, you're on his schedule.
Oh, I'm on his schedule. Okay, well that's fine.
No, I mean in terms of he's an early guy. He likes to knock things out
early.
early.
Oh yeah, he is an early guy. But no, I can't wait to ask him about Malik Davis and about Jalen Tolbert and about Sam Williams, because that's another conversation you and I had yesterday. Not today, yesterday.
He's prime.
Yes, about who could possibly be a breakout. So while Dalvin Cook isn't a bad idea, Pledge, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's a bad idea. I'm just looking at what is it that we have to do if I'm the Dallas Cowboys to get us over the hump. And I think that's why Will McClay was like, no, we're taking Mozzie. Our weakest point last year was we could not stop the run. Let's go out here and get a real first-round draft pick and have us try and find us our Aaron Donald, our Fletcher Cox. Not saying he's going to be those guys, but you're always on the hunt for those guys because it really is a game changer, and that's why San Francisco's had so much success with no matter who they put under center because their defense is just flawless. So that's just my thinking. I know Dalvin Cook ain't a bad idea, but I don't think he's not the answer to the boogeyman.
And when you can create pressure from the inside, that allows those guys on the outside to feast even more.
Yeah, Micah says he's going to be an impact guy, not just a sack guy. So he's got some living up to do as well.
He is Rudy J. You can catch him weekdays 6 to 10 right here on R&R in the morning on San Antonio Sports Star. Rudy, thanks for taking some time on your vacation to sit in with me for a little bit.
The last thing I could do, the least I could do is come in with you for 10, 15 minutes when you've given me 8 hours the last 2 days. It's the least I could do, my man. This was no problem. It's easy peasy working with you, man. I appreciate you sitting in for me and sitting in for Rob over the next few days, man. It's much appreciated. It does not go unnoticed.
I appreciate you, Rudy J. Have a safe trip and enjoy the first family reunion in 3 years?
Yeah, man, we've been down and out because of COVID. You got the elders, so you had to make sure the coast is clear as possible. So the first time in 3 years, over 200 guests. You know how black folks do. We love a good reunion, and we love to hit the electric slide. So it's gonna be a good time.
Y'all having a small community there.
Yeah, man, over 200 guests, man. But I cannot wait.
He is Rudy J. Rudy, thanks for the time, man. We'll talk to you soon.
My man, much love. Peace.
Rudy J right there on the Buyers Barricades guest line. Buy or sell online at buyersbarricades.com. I am James Pledger. You're listening to Extra Innings with Pledger. We're going to put a ball on the show, pour one out the door as I'm pouring one out for a man that needed to be shown the door. That's all coming up right here on San Antonio Sports Star, 94.1 FM and sasportstar.com.
At Grainger, we're for the ones who pay attention to every little detail. The ones who fuss, tinker, and sweat the small stuff. Because the tiniest thing can make the biggest difference when it comes to keeping business moving. We get it. We're the same way, offering access to product experts to help you quickly and easily find what you need. So whatever your industry, you're always getting professional-grade products. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
DQ presents Picture This. You're getting together with all your best friends. Now picture all your best friends are actually the delicious ingredients of the new cake batter cookie dough blizzard. That's DQ soft serve, cake batter flavor, confetti cookie dough pieces, and DQ signature sprinkles. Oh, hey, it sounds like you got some pretty sweet friends. And that's worth cueing the confetti. Cookie dough! The flavor party isn't going to last forever, so hurry in and get your cake batter fix today. Only at DQ. Happy tastes good.
Twin Peaks is the best in the game. Here, it's bigger game days and bolder fight nights. I mean, where else can you find a scratch kitchen that always comes in clutch? Every day, from lunch to late night. Only at Twin Peaks, the #1 sports bar.
We don't really think about skincare. It's hard, though, to find something that's just for guys. Until now. I found Toro Cosmeceuticals and it's completely changed the game. Hi, everybody. Joe Reinagle here. It's luxury skincare just for men, and it's affordable. Toro is a game changer, and it's an experience all for men. And to get you started, Toro is offering you 20% off. All you have to do, go to toroskincare.com and enter the code JOE.
Guys, did you know your testosterone affects everything in your system, including how you feel and perform every day? Right now, Revive Men's Health San Antonio will check your testosterone for free. Knowing your T levels is the first step in understanding if you have low T. Your testosterone level impacts your energy, libido, sleep, weight, hair loss, mood, and even ED. Maintaining an appropriate T level can change your whole life. Most men start to see changes in their hormone levels in their 30s. Experience and results matter. So what are you waiting for? Get your T levels checked today by local, experienced, and trusted men's health experts. They've helped thousands of men since 2011. They're so confident they can help you, they even guarantee it. Call Revive today and schedule your free testosterone test, free exam, and free consultation. Call Revive Men's Health at 210-615-7777. That's 210-615-7777. Or visit revivemenshealth.com.
Listen to this station anytime, anywhere on Odyssey. Odyssey is your new audio home for all the music, news, sports, and podcasts that matter to you. Odyssey. That's AUDACY.
If you travel as much as the San Antonio sports guys travel, while you're on the road, be sure to take us along. Listen to the 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star live stream anywhere on the Odyssey radio app.
Pour me, pour me, pour me, pour me.
Welcome back to Extra Innings with Pleasure. We're about to pull one out the door, and I'm pouring it out the door for a man who needed to be shown the door. That is one Mr. Dan Snyder. God bless, good luck, and goodbye, Mr. Snyder, or as Jason Minnick so affectionately calls him, Little Danny Snyder. His tyranny on the NFL is gone as the Commanders officially sold and were unanimously approved at $6.05 billion to Josh Harris, the group led by him, which also includes that of Magic Johnson and others. And as you heard Jason Minnick earlier on this show depicting, who is a fan of a Josh Harris run organization, the New Jersey Devils. Bad team. Bought the team. Drafted a lot of young talent. Process. We've seen it play out in Philly. The process. All of a sudden, they went from one of the worst teams ever to one of the top Eastern Conference teams. Now, they haven't gotten over that hump or that threshold, but they are much better run. And he gives the power to the people that run his organization that know the business and gets out of their way, as Jason said. That is now going to be the Washington Commanders, who I don't believe are that far off. You've got a great talent like Deron Payne. You've got scary Terry McLaurin. You've got a possible untapped potential at quarterback with Sam Howell, who in that final game against the Dallas Cowboys in Week 17 last year looked really good. Played admirably, and news coming out of Washington right now seems to indicate that Sam looks to have taken a step this year. You've got a really good running back tandem. That is a team that when they draft one, Chase Young, and we still don't know what the future holds for Chase Young, but we know the upside and the potential there is insane. And even if it's not, if they trade him, they can get a king's ransom for him. So you take all these factors into consideration. Washington, which hasn't been greatly run over the last 2+ decades, also feel like they're that far off when placed into the hands of competent leadership. So the NFC East could look like the NFC Beast again very soon with what Brian Daboll did up in New York last year, with what the Eagles look like right now, and with what the Dallas Cowboys currently are, which is a Super Bowl contender this year. That has the makings of a very, very, very tough division. But you have to worry about one team in there, and that is, unfortunately, the New York Giants. Because the New York Giants, well, they seem to have fumbled the bag by, handing the bag so willingly to Danny Dimes, turning him into Danny Dollars. and then not delivering on what seemed to be the actual heart and soul and the engine that drove that football team on offense last year, Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley, man, he sounds frustrated that he's put in this position that he's in.
I can say "F you" to the Giants. I can say "F you" to my teammates and be like, "You want me to show you my worth? You want to show you how valuable I am to the team? I won't show up. I won't play it down." And that's a play I can use. Anybody knows me knows that's not something I want to do. But like, it's something that crossed my mind. It's like I never thought I would ever do that. But like now I'm at a point where it's like, Jesus, like I might have to take it to this level. And like, am I willing? Am I prepared to take it to the level? I don't know. That's something I got to sit down and like I got to talk to my family. I got to sit down and talk to my team. Got to really strategize about this. Can't just like go off of emotion.
That sounds like a man who doesn't want to hold out, like a man who doesn't want to be away from his team, like a man who doesn't like being put in the situation he's currently been put in. That was Saquon Barkley on the Money Matters podcast the other day. But the NFL Players Association is trying to have, it's not trying, they're always going to have the players back, but it's really hard when you're talking about the economics of the running back position and just how difficult it is considering a running back's lifespan versus their earning power versus the ability to control and maximize or at least cap what they can maximize by using the franchise tag twice. And you can wholly limit what running backs make by doing this, no matter when they're drafted. And so by doing that, they're put in a very difficult position. And the NFL Players Association president, one J.C. Tretter, who used to be a center for the Cleveland Browns, thinks he might have a way to solve a problem about this whole franchise tag and then, holding out, missing money, and maybe a possible way to circumvent that.
You need to try to create as much leverage as you possibly can in any situation. And that's the tough thing with the franchise tag or being restricted in movement is it decreases your leverage, but then you have to find creative ways to build leverage elsewhere. I think we've seen issues. Now, I don't think anybody would ever say they were fake injuries, but we've seen players who didn't want to be where they currently are, have injuries that made them unable to practice and play. But you're not able to get fined and you're not able to be punished for not reporting. So there are issues like that. I don't think I'm allowed to ever recommend that, but or at least publicly. But I think each player needs to find a way to build up leverage to try to get a fair deal. And that's really what all these guys are looking for, is to be compensated fairly.
I'm not suggesting injury because I can't and faking it, but possibly. Thanks for spending your Thursday afternoon with me. This has been Extra Innings with Pleasure on 941 San Antonio Sports Star.
KTFM Floresville. This is 94.1 San Antonio Sports Star. Your home for the Blitz. 2 to 6 on YouTube and always at sasportstar.com.
I'm Doug Brown. NFL owners unanimously approved the 6